Okay, so we're going to be analyzing Into the Storm by Robert W. Smith. A very recent piece, and Robert W. Smith, a very famous composer for concert band, for symphonic concert band. And this piece, basically, it was inspired by a storm that happened in 1993. And basically the whole piece is basically trying to um, emulate a storm, basically the whole thing, and that's the reason for the title. We're going to look at the form overview of this piece and take a look at this phrase diagram that we have here. Now there's a lot of things going on, and notice that there's many basic ideas, and the reason for this is because we have a very different approach this for this piece when it comes to comparing or using Kaplan's themes. So if we compare this piece to the pieces that we've been analyzing in class, or the pieces that Kaplan's was analyzing, this is a completely different piece. Therefore, some of the Kaplan's themes are not going to be found in this piece. However, some of some of the components are actually found in the piece, and I'm gonna be explaining about how this happened, how it worked. But notice um, our motifs here. So we have the syncopation, we have an ostinato, and then we have the repeated basic idea. And I'm gonna explain why is it called the repeated basic idea. The melodic statement that clarinets bring on measure 22. We're gonna hear that as well. All of these motifs are very clear in the piece. So let's take a look at the first section, which is the A section. This section, I decided to divide it into two sections. A section which is basically the intro. Okay. The syncopation comes in with a fast tempo, but the prefix, because we do have a prefix, that one's going to be at 96. Okay. So, oh, sorry. So the prefix comes in, and we can at 96 beats per minute, and we can hear that very clearly because three accented fifths and their whole notes, and again they're at 96, and then the syncopation comes in right at 152. So the tempo changes. I'm sorry, the tempos that we have are in the piece. Basically, those are the ones that basically gives the form away. So we're gonna have the A section at 152, and then B section goes and slows down all the way to 96, and then we have a sense of return on the A prime. So we're gonna listen to this piece, to this part of the A section. These are our accented fifths, like I said, kind of slow at 96, which is basically emulating how the storm is about to begin, and that's why I believe that's why the composer decides to use this kind of instrumentation, which is woodwinds and mallets. So let's listen to how this sounds. So basically that was our prefix and our first basic idea, also our syncopation motif. So this is what we just listened to, which it was the prefix, and like I said, the accented fifths, then the basic idea, repeat it, right? Basic idea, and then repeats, and then it's also our syncopation motif. So then we go into the next section, okay, which the composer brings another basic idea, and then that basic idea is repeated all across. Oh, that was supposed to be a highlighter. All across the rest of the A section. And you're going to hear a contrasting idea right here, okay? And right on measure 38, and you'll be able to hear that. You'll know that it's something totally different. But something that it makes the part interesting is that the composer brings different instrumentation. So it's basic idea, that's when the bass drum comes in right here, and then this is where the clarinets come in, okay? So he's overlapping these instruments, which makes the part a little bit more interesting. So this is our repeated basic idea. We'll listen to that. So basically this is the whole piece, because that 4-bar phrase, it just repeats over and over again. But then again, the composer brings new instrumentation every 4 bars or every 8 bars, and that's how he makes it a little bit more interesting. So that's our repeated basic idea. This is our first basic idea. So basically that's the whole A section. The first basic idea, which it was our syncopation, and then our second basic idea, which is being repeated all across. Sorry. We're going to follow through to have a little bit of a better understanding of how this works. So basically that's our whole A section, and you can hear that. The A section continues here. Again, the first A section at the beginning, it's very long, so we can the syncopation comes back right here, and then we have a nice little just a different contrasting section, which is going to be right here. And here we can see that it's an antecedent. It's a basic idea contrasting idea, so one of Kaplan's components, and basically that's what it's going to take. What's going to takes us into the B section. So we're going to take it. We're going to listen to that. So notice that the tempo also slows down, the dynamics. We have a nice decrescendo, and then we have what I categorize as lead in, and that's going to be the piccolo solo. So that's a nice way of telling us that we are into B now. So this part of the piece, it's basically taking us to where the storm has calmed down, and then later on the storm is gonna come back, and we'll be able to hear that as well. So again, we have a nice piccolo solo right here, which takes us into B. Here on the B section, we have a contrasting idea, basic idea, contrasting idea, which is an antecedent. And what the composer does is he takes the same approach as in letter A. So what does he do? What does he does? He repeats the antecedent 8 times. And same approach, he gives it to the trumpets first, then passes the baton to the woodwinds, and then on the last 8 measures of the section, he has the woodwinds and the trumpets. There we go. So let's listen to that. So you can hear that this is the B section, very clearly. Same idea. So we can hear the resolution here, right? So basically, it's telling us that the B section is over, and now it takes us take us to the A section again, and the whole A section comes back. The syncopation motif and that basic idea that it was being repeated comes back, and then this time the composer, he doesn't repeat the second basic idea, which is this one right here, many times. He just repeats it twice, and then brings the contrasting section right here, and at the very end, something that it was very interesting to me, he uses phrase expansion techniques, which it was stretching. So we'll listen to that, and we'll be able to see that in music as well. So we'll listen to this. And we're back. So basically, that's the end of the piece, and this is the part that the trumpets have at the very end, or towards the end, and this is where Smith decides to use one of Kaplan's techniques. So this is where what we have here. What he does is that he takes the the first 6 notes of the piece, right? The first 6 notes of the piece, and decides to stretch them. So this is where you can hear the stretching, but also we can if we're analyzing it on paper, you can totally see the stretching here. So here we have G, and it becomes a half note. A flat, half note. A natural, B flat, B flat, B natural, and C. So you can see the stretching there, and you can hear it. So that was something that was very interesting to me when like a very interesting way to finish the piece. So that was basically the whole A prime section. And then at the very end, he decides, because this, like I said, the story does come back. He gives something that I really liked, and one of my favorite, or something that I really, I thought it was kind of funny, is that he gives that to the brass. He's just pick a note and then just play it and be very intense, so that we can finish this piece. Then he brings the syncopation motif one more time right before the end. And that is it. That's basically the whole form. Again, when we have that sense of return here on 106, right after the B section, we go back to the old tempo. So again, tempo is something that really gave this form away. So we have A, B, A, B, A. Okay, and you could argue that this could be like a binary form, like just this is 1, this is 2, and then this comes back. I mean, maybe, but definitely that's the form that I decided to give this to this piece, just AB A prime. And I decided to call it A prime because, you know, it is not exactly the same as the first section. So hopefully this helps you with your homework, and hopefully this answers all your questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me. Don't hesitate to email me. This is pretty much it, I think. I think this phrase diagram should give you almost all the answers to the homework assignment. And like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and just shoot me a message, and we'll try to reply as soon as I can. Thank you very much. You guys have a good one.